Hello everyone, sure. We're here today with Chelsey, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt, MMA competitor, Muay Thai competitor, boxing competitor, and the women's 60 kilogram Lion Championship winner of 2023.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that intro.
All right, well let's get started with today's show. I want to hear about your background in Muay Thai, because that's the sport that I'm just getting into now.
Yeah.
I've been working for a couple months with Lucas Bauti at Rooster Muay Thai. It's been awesome.
I've heard good things.
Of course, I'm still a novice, but I feel like I'm learning and progressing so quickly. So I want to hear a little bit about your experience and what you have to say about Muay Thai, especially here in Vietnam.
Oh, it's such a beautiful sport. And I say that because just the way that people who fight Muay Thai are mentally, they're just, especially with the coaching. Let me start with the coaching. I feel like, let me back up. I'm very fortunate because the first time I started training Muay Thai, I was training with Thai coaches. And I've trained with a couple different Thai coaches. So the Thai coaches are Pep and B. They're at SMC Saigon Club. And I've trained with a lot of Thai coaches in Thailand and here. And one thing I've noticed about all of them is that they really go at the pace of the athlete. They don't push them to do more than what they're willing to do. They'll push the pace if they see you can manage. But if you don't want to be here, or if you don't want to do it, there's the door. They're not going to try and make you do something that you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And so that's one thing I love about it, is that everyone's there on their own volition. It's a calculated choice, and they go and they do the same thing every day. Every day they do the same thing. And if you can get in the habit of just going in the gym and doing the same thing every day, you will get better. Mentally, physically, everything. But yeah, so my experience with Muay Thai is I was trying to branch out, remember? And that's the first discipline that I went to when I started branching out from boxing to open up opportunities. I fell in love with it right away. We practiced Superman punches the first day that I was there, and I was done. That was it for me. I was like, I'm never going to stop training Muay Thai. This is so much fun. And I used to kick so high when I still do this. I would kick so high that I would fall all the time because I was just aiming so high. And there's got to be a metaphor in there somewhere, but it's just so much fun. And I would just go in there flinging these crazy kicks and just fall right over and just laugh. And it's just a very joyous sport for me. It looks brutal and it looks I guess aggressive and scary, but for me, when I look at it, all I see is passion, respect, humility, and just beauty.
Yeah, you see that with a lot of the Muay Thai athletes. Personally, my coach, very humble guy, very dangerous guy, but someone it's awesome to show up to the training room every day, get in there with a bunch of other guys who are also willing to put the work in. So can you talk about some of your training partners at that time? When I was doing Muay Thai? Yeah, that really got you into the sport.
Let me think. So, I would say no one really got me into it. It was kind of this is just what I'm going to do now. And I think also being in Saigon with a very transient population, there's always people coming in, people going out. And, when I go into the gym, I'm friendly, of course, but I'm definitely not there to make friends, I'm there to get the job done. And I guess there's not a lot of people that I started training with at the beginning, at the very, very beginning, that I still train with now. I can't think of really anyone. The only person I can think of that I can think of jiu-jitsu folks that I started with that I still train with now. But that was only a couple years ago. I don't think there's really many training partners. I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. So Lucy Kent, but I didn't start with Lucy Kent. She's the person that I had my 2 Muay Thai fights with. So we actually never trained together. We trained in the same gym, but she was usually doing PT. She always did PT with the Thais. I always did group classes. And when I lost to her, we had a draw, and then I lost. And when I lost to her, I said, that's it. I'm done with the group classes. I'm getting PT. I have to get sponsors because Lucy's sponsored. I was like, if I want to win, I gotta at least do what she's doing. So I got sponsored by Jimmy's. I was sponsored by another place for a while, and I'm hopefully gonna have more sponsors later. Still looking. But yeah, that's a part of it, is having that support so that you can get more training and more recovery, more recovery time. So yeah, me and Lucy never actually trained together. We only met face to face in that fight, and now we train together.
Okay.
And it's awesome. Yeah. Like, she is such, like, for my last fight especially, she's never fought 5-minute rounds. I don't think. Yeah. And she would come in after work every single day and train 5-minute rounds to prep me for my most recent fight.
Wow.
And she even would say, like, if you want to try and take me down, like, just do what you do your jiu-jitsu thing. Like, I can't do anything. And she was just so cool. And so, yeah, we kind of, like, definitely found friendship through Muay Thai. But we started as opponents, and it's great when you can, like, have a friendship blossom out of that, for sure.
It's amazing when you can share the cage with somebody, and then, or share the ring with somebody, and then everything blossoms out of there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get some respect after that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, Zach, I'm still waiting for you to show up at Rooster one of these days.
Honestly, just after hearing Chelsey talk about Muay Thai and how fun it is,
much fun.
Now I want to go do it.
I'm like a little kid. I'm like a little kid when
I
I go to Muay Thai. I'm just like jumping around, like throwing high kicks. I look stupid doing it, I'm sure.
I listen to this guy, Adam, from the grappling practice every day at 12. And he's always talking about, oh man, Muay Thai today.
Yeah, mostly I'm just complaining.
Coach
made me do this.
A lot of it is complaining, and then I just see sheer joy out of Chelsey, and it wasn't until Chelsey. Well, I actually want to do Muay Thai now, so maybe I do it.
I'm so glad I can spark that for you.
Yeah, you're selling it to one of us.
It's a different perspective, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess striking just never really been, my sport. I've always been a grappler, wrestler, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe just try just to see what happens.
Yeah, I love the contrast. Like, when I've been doing jiu-jitsu a long time, and maybe not so much striking, I'm like, man, I want to hit something.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Like, I get to go over to Muay Thai. And then Muay Thai, I get, like, bored, or I'm like, wrestle. and I'll just go, I miss, like, that, just, like, the actual rolling part of it. And just, like, I feel like a kid. I feel like a kid in a candy store with these sports. And so, I wouldn't say I get bored easy. I just like options.
Right.
I like options. And I'm the same way with my sports. And martial arts, MMA is the perfect fit for me because I love training all of them.
Okay. So Zach started with wrestling. You wrestled in high school and then at VMI. Chelsey, have you had any, when you were younger, are you into any martial arts, karate, wrestling, anything in high school?
I did Taekwondo when I was 14. I did it for about maybe 6 months at the most. I am still so mad at myself that I didn't stick to it. But yeah, I quit like after a few months. I was all about fast pitch softball. I was a catcher.
Oh, really?
That was my sport. And when
college?
No, because I could have. I was on the team. I was on that track.
Okay.
I was on the team that gets you those scholarships. Like, I was on a team that, like, gets you mad exposure and stuff. I think we took 3rd in the nation the year that I played there, or on that team, the travel ball team. But at the end, I just got this feeling, I want to do other things in my life. I've been playing ball for 10 years, and like, I want to have like experience. Every weekend, every evening, I'm playing ball. And I just woke up one day and said, I want to do other things. And so I did. I became a creative writing major at Georgia State. And yeah, I did other things. I did roller derby. I did, and it was good. It opened things up for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about roller derby.
Yeah, I did roller derby. Yeah, no, that was really fun. I never stuck with it long enough to have any bouts because I ended up moving to China. Okay. So I did a little bit in graduate school when I was in graduate school, and then about that time, like, we left to go to China. But yeah, I did it for a short while. Like, those girls are tough. It's like football, American football on skates. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that primed me for MMA for sure.
Yeah. So when you're training for a fight, how many boxing or Muay Thai classes do you have per week? How many grappling? You have 10 practices per week, you have 15, 20, what's it like?
So I do the same thing every day, Monday through Friday. I wake up at 4:30. My 5K used to be my regular, but now it's a 7K. Yay! So I wake up, do a 5K, lift some weights, and then I go to work, and then I get off at 4. I'm in, I'm in D2 by 4:30, and I'm hitting pads with Pep. I'm doing one Muay Thai thing for an hour and a half, and then I go straight to Jiu-Jitsu, back to D7, and I'm there till 8:30 or 8. Yeah, and then I wake up, I do it all over again. And then on Saturdays, I do open mat, and I usually will get in a boxing PT.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty busy schedule. Can you talk about how you manage this all being a full-time teacher as well?
Well, I would say balancing teaching and training isn't so hard for me. It's balancing everything else. You know, like, it's no problem to wake up, train, go to work, train, again, do what I love. You know, it's no problem to do that and to get into routine. For me, it's not a problem. I love it. I enjoy it. It's not a problem. The issue is balancing friendship, romantic partners. Like, when do you have to, you know, I just told you my schedule, 4:30 a.m. and I'm grinding until 8 or 8:30. Yeah. And then you have time to eat and then go to bed. So it's hard to make time for other things when that's your schedule every single day. So it's hard on, you know, your romantic partners. And like I said, you just kind of have to let them know during this 8-week period, I'm not going to be the best partner. Yep. I'm not going to be what you might need. I can be a listening ear, and I can be there for you as much as I can, but you have to kind of understand that I'm trying to do something here, and it's hard. It's hard for them. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to, I feel guilty. I do feel a lot of guilt for not being better. Yeah, so that's hard to manage. So it's the balancing of everything else. That's tough. How do I do it? Well, I just give it my best. I just give it my absolute best. Yeah. And self-efficacy is important. Just you set your alarm for that time and you do it. Not necessarily because, not only because you have to do it, but because you have to show yourself that you can do it. And you have to know that you can do it. And that's how you prove it to yourself, is by keeping your promises. Even those alarm promises that you make to yourself, that's a promise. And when it comes to like balancing like partner and friendships and all of that, communication, just letting people know like that you love them, and that even though you may not physically be there, it doesn't mean that you don't want to be, and just trying to take advantage of every moment that you can, which is also really tough because, I told you my schedule, 4:30 to 8:30, and then weekends I have open mat and a PT session and maybe some recovery like physio or something, and then the rest of the day I spend with my partner, and Sunday I would spend with my partner. And when do I have time for myself? When do I have time to just think and to just be? Not a lot. And so that's really hard too. And so I'm not, like, I don't even know if I was balancing it very well. But every fighter deals with that. Every fighter deals with that. Just like every fighter deals with injuries. You don't fight without pain. And, and that's physical, mental, and emotional pain. Absolutely. You don't do any of that without pain.
Absolutely. Are there any routines, like, when you spend time with yourself? Do you do a meditation? Do you go for a walk? Do you write?
I write. I journal.
Really?
And I actually write because it's better for me. Like, there have been times when I've, like, written about something that, was causing issues or whatever, and I felt like I exercised a demon out of me because of how good it felt just to channel it, you know. And you need that physical act of writing, I think.
So you physically write with a pen and paper?
Yes, when I journal. If I'm writing something specific, like creative, like a story or something, or a poem, then yeah, I type. But if I'm journaling and I'm just doing my thoughts and it's just for like a meditative purpose, I write. And I like to go for walks. I paint. I love acrylic paint and canvas. And I love music. So I do a little bit of singing, and I'm learning some things right now as well.
Good at all the sports, good at all the arts.
Good at everything. The one and only.
I didn't say I was good.
Participation trophy.
Get ahead of yourself.
Wow, that's incredible. There's so much that goes behind the scenes of a fighter in the mind.
Yeah. You need that. You need to have, you know, like Rocky has his turtles, you know, and his dog. You gotta have something that you love behind all of this. Fighting cannot be your only love. It can be your one true love, but it can't be the only one, because it can't love you back. Not the hard way.
Yeah. And so you've got all these challenges, all these struggles, everything pulling you in different directions, and then you have the added hardship, the added obstacles of fighting as a female.
Yeah.
So would you like to share like a little bit about what that's like?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I would say fighting specifically, not just training, but fighting as a woman. It's tough because oftentimes women are kind of dismissed or disregarded, and at times degraded. So yeah, that's the first most challenging thing, is like the weight classes, the limited weight classes, having to constantly like make myself smaller just to be in the biggest weight class that there is. That is so challenging. I have undergone ridiculous dietary restrictions that I'm like ashamed about. Like I have done ridiculous things to try to fit into this weight class. Yeah. Like in 2022, I had my MMA debut, and I was willing to sacrifice everything for this fight. And I did. I sacrificed everything, even my body. And like, I'm still recovering from that physically. Like, like when you, as a woman, when you stop eating, like things start getting cut off. Your body's like, whoop, say goodbye to that. Oh, say goodbye to that. And it has all these terrible physical effects and all the weight cutting and things. So I know you guys didn't want to talk about this today, but like, yeah, like, like my cycle was cut off for a while, and like it took me a long time to like get a normal cycle back and to get my hormones back balanced out from all the weight cutting and the long-term dieting to fit into this weight class. And I did find a healthier way to do it, but basically the bottom line is I have to cut weight.
Yeah.
I have to, because I have to eat.
Cutting weight's hard as it is.
Yeah. And and another thing is like women have to like burn more fat during the fight camp because they're not going to be able to cut it as much as men. Wow. Physically impossible to cut as much as men because of the way we're designed. We're designed differently. And so, but I have to eat. So I've had to cut 5 to 6 kg every time that I fight, and it nearly kills me. It nearly kills me. The last time I filled a bathtub with hot water, like as hot as I could stand it. I poured alcohol in it, and this is supposed to open up your pores, and then poured Epsom salt all in it. And I sat in it. I did 5 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and in 22 minutes I cut 0.6. And I was like in the shower in the fetal position, like on my 5-minute break, like in between. I mean, I really thought I was gonna die. I mean, I know people go through crazy things. Yeah, you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. I couldn't even stand up. Like I had to be like picked up and taken out of the bath each time.
Is that the same day of weightings?
It was the night before. So I have to work too. So I can't cut weight in one day. I have to do water reduction for 7 days. And slowly, and I'm still training those 7 days. So I drink 2 liters of water a day with training and teaching all day. And then I do a big cut So weigh-in, so there's weigh-in, and then I have to fly out the night before of weigh-in. And then, so what I do is I do a big cut on the second to the last day before weigh-in. And I do a big cut that day because I have to work. So like, I can't do a big cut and then go into work. You can't do that. So I wait until the last possible minute. I do a big cut, and then the next day when I fly out, I go to work. And then I do a cut that morning, I go to work. And then I come home, I do another little cut, and then if I have to fly, I fly out. And then that night, I was still at, like, my last fight, I was at 60, but I was worried, because you really want to be a little bit below to make sure if their scale's off or whatever, you cannot mess around with that. And the stress, I don't want to be stressed. So I did like a 0.6 cut the night before. And yeah, so it's tough when you're working too and you have to cut.
Where'd you weigh in at when you got there?
59.4. 59.4, I think. Yeah. I know.
4,600.
Yeah. I did that just to be safe.
And then after you weighed in, how did you feel?
Oh, well, it's the best thing ever. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh no, the funny part was I went to go eat breakfast, right? We're at the hotel. Yeah. This is the first time Lion put us up in like a really nice hotel. It's like this fancy place. And I weigh in and we didn't do a stare off or anything. I'm like, okay, well, we're not doing a stare off. We're not gonna do a stare off. No. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to breakfast. And so I ran to the the place, like the food hall or whatever. And like, we just had all this breakfast. And then they called me, they said, you gotta do a stare off, you gotta do a stare off. I just sat down for breakfast. She's like, no, you have to come now. And I said, well, what about my breakfast?
Oh my God.
I was livid. I don't think I've ever been so mad. And so I had to go and do my stare off, and then I went back and just, ate everything. Yeah.
So then after the weigh-in, how long are you waiting before you actually get in the cage?
There's more than 24 hours.
Okay.
So we weighed in like at 9 a.m. and then I didn't fight till the evening, like at 7 or 8 or something like that.
When do you think you weighed when you stepped in the cage?
I weighed myself. The last time I actually wasn't able to gain as much as I wanted to. Like, the last time I think I was 63 when I fought. I ate enough, but you don't want to eat too much. Mm-hmm. So I was only 63.
Oh, wow.
And but the time before that, I was 65. Wow. Like, my pants were fitting differently. Like, they give you pants, like, for, to fight in, and they fit perfect. And then for the fight, the actual fight, I was like, man, these are, like, almost too tight. Like, they barely fit. But yeah, so I know that we went way off on a tangent, but so I would say just like the fact that like the struggle that women go through, like with the physical limitations and like the fact that you're sacrificing a lot, like when you do all that dieting and weight cutting, like it's gonna affect you long term. It's kind of like it's harder for us to do the same things that guys do, and yet no one really cares, and like we don't really talk about that. No one ever really talks about the struggle or anything like that. And then I think there are sometimes, I don't know what men's experience is, like if you've ever felt degraded or anything like that, but like, I remember I watched an interview with Ronda Rousey and Joe Rogan right after she had just been big with UFC. And one of the questions he asked her was, do you think that if you ever, like, do you think it'd be possible that after a fight, these girls are like done duking it out, they shake hands or whatever, do you think they would ever just like start making out? Do you think that'd be possible? Would they ever ask a guy that? No, of course they wouldn't. And so there's little things like that you see, and then just like the commentary that you see people making. It's just, it can be frustrating. It can be frustrating. And then like, there have been times in the gym where, there's certain people that are very respected and well-renowned and they're big in the scene, and then they hit you on your ass in training, or they do something, or they say something. And you have two choices. You either pop off at them and you tell them how it is, or you just pop them in the mouth. And then you disturb the peace and the vibe in the gym, and everyone's like, whoa, like, what's going on? And then the whole day is ruined by this. Or you stay silent and you eat it. And you don't have this negative thing attached to your name, and the day carries on as usual, and no one, remembers this about you, that, oh, you popped that guy. Like, yeah. So there's those times when you have that choice, and it's hard. Yeah, it can be hard. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say, disclaimer, in spite of all that, I love being a woman. And if I could change my gender, I wouldn't, because it's the adversity that makes it so awesome when we do win championships. And, like, woman becomes president, awesome. Woman becomes CEO, awesome. Woman, wins, MMA title, like, wow, it's incredible when women do these things in spite of what they're up against. So yeah. I love being a woman for the adversity. I hate the adversity, but I also love it. So, yeah. But I do hope that one day we don't have to deal with some of these things. I do hope that we have more weight classes for women one day. The first girl that I sparred was 90 kg. She was good too. She beat my ass. And there are women who are different sizes, and we shouldn't be trying to force them into these small, these small categories. And, I think another thing that I hear a lot is that there's no competition with women at that. If you're that big, there's no one who's going to be, 75 kg and is going to be fit and fighting. But that's just not true. Like, me at my very, very biggest was like 74. That was after the lockdown. But I'm still boxing. I'm still doing martial arts. I don't want to say it that way. There's plenty of girls who do, and that's a healthy weight for them. So, yeah.
So you won the title at 60 kilograms, and ideally, if they had a higher weight class, like what's your ideal fighting weight?
Well, the thing is, I'm glad you asked that, because my ideal weight is definitely more like the 65, 67 range, probably 65 or 66. But the weight cutting is an issue. That's why I love what One Championship is doing with the hydration test, because you have to actually fight at the weight that you are, and that's how it should be. Because if I fight at 65, I'm gonna have to fight Kayla Harrison. It's Harrison, right? Not Harris. I don't know why I can't remember. You guys don't know. Oh,
I don't know.
This is great.
She's like a player.
I also
Olympic
huge.
I just can't remember if it's Harrison or Harris. I think it's Kayla Harris. I'm so sorry, Kayla Harris. I respect you so much, and I love you. I'm blanking. It's Harris. It's Kayla Harris. Okay. So if I am at 65 kg, I have to fight Kayla Harris.
Yeah. I
have to fight Clarissa Shields. These girls are huge. These girls are ripped. They're coming down from like 70, 75 maybe. No, maybe not 75. Maybe. Okay. I don't know. I don't know how much weight these girls be cutting. But if I don't know.
If there's more weight classes, would they be choosing to fight at a higher weight as well?
Well, the thing is like the weight cutting allows you to cheat. But if there's no weight cutting, I would fight at 65. Like, the weight cutting allows you to be stronger or whatever at a lower weight class. So I would have to go against these girls at 65. I would be scared to. But I mean, I guess I could be stronger. I'm just scared of Kayla Harris. Clarissa Shields. No, I'm not scared. No, I am scared. No, I'd be stupid to say I'm not scared of Kayla Harris. Anyways, if weight cutting is allowed, I would probably fight like 64 or 63, because then I would only have to cut maybe 2 at the most. Yeah. But if weight cutting is not allowed, then I would fight at 65.
Yeah. We're getting some wild messages from Kayla Harris. She does not appreciate you messing up her name.
I'm so sorry I messed up her name, but I am scared of you, so at least you know that. Don't come at me, bro, please. Please.
Yeah, so you accomplished a lot, the Lion Championship. What's it like, just walking into the arena after after training for months and months on end, 15, 20 practices, what's that moment like when that cage opens, when all the lights are on you, everyone's watching from home, you probably got a lot of people, a lot of friends and family back in Atlanta. What's it like? And what are some of the key moments when you're walking into the cage? Are you nervous or are you excited? What's it like?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a very boring answer. I'm very clinical when it comes to fighting. For a lot of people, fighting is second nature for them because they've been doing it so long. People like Stan Fairtex, people like Ronda Rousey. She went in there and literally did the same little throw over and over again and won championships because she's done that same throw her whole life. So it's just second nature. So for me, it's not second nature yet. I've been training, March will be 5 years. Okay. I've been training boxing. And so it's not second nature for me yet. So I understand how emotions and dopamine and all of that work. And for me, I learned from experience. I used to be super hyped going in, jumping around, smiling, excited, a lot like Robson, just a ball of fun. But I learned from experience too, you can't have all this dopamine and all these happy chemicals flooding your body when you are going in to a battle, for me, because it's not second nature yet. I need to be focused. I need to be very clinical. So all emotions, excited, nervous, whatever, I keep them at bay. I keep them at least at arm's length until after the fight.
Yeah.
Before the fight, I do not embrace any emotion. It is just nothing but a calm, cool, woosah. I don't see the lights. I don't see any. I mean, of course I see it, but I don't engage with it. I don't think oh my God, fog machine. Look at all the lights. No, actually, in Hanoi, the stadium in Hanoi blew, it was so hard not to be rattled by all this. Yeah. It's thousands of people there. The Hanoi Stadium is insane with and the fog machine, man. I'm walking down the stage and the fog machine go boom, and I almost flinched. I was this close to flinching because it makes a loud noise right as you go by it, and it freaks me out. But anyways, yeah. So I don't engage with any of the emotions that these things naturally create for people until after the fight. After the fight, woo, enjoy it. That's why I actually like not being the last. I actually like not being the last fight. It'd be great to be the ultimate fight and to be the finale. I would love that because it's an honor. But I actually like being able to, after the fight, being able to go in and enjoy the moment and enjoy the excitement of the stadium and the yelling and the lights and everything. I get really into it, more so probably than the average person because I've been keeping all these feelings at bay, forcing them away. And that's how it is the whole week leading up into the fight. I don't engage with emotions that week.
Yeah.
Control the heart rate, be calm, avoid stress at all costs. That's also why I do the cut the way that I do it. Everything that I do, I'm always on time to things because if I'm late, then I'm going to be stressed. Yeah. So I avoid stress at every turn that week.
Wow.
So keeping everything above board. And when they finally wrapped the strap around your waist, how did that feel?
Well, that was, I really, I envision, and just thinking about it makes me want to cry. But I envisioned that moment, and every fighter envisions that moment every day of training until that moment happens. You envision it when you're struggling, when you're down and out. There's been so many times when I've been running my 5K in the morning, visualizing that and just tearing up because you just want it so bad. And I really thought that when I got the belt, I was going to cry because, it's just everything that I went through, especially the fact that I had to work for 2 years for something that should have taken just one. It was emotional, but it was I worked for that and I made it so. And it was probably definitely one of the best moments because I envisioned it and I made it happen. It's just such a good feeling when you envision something for so long and then you're like, yeah, this is exactly what I thought it would feel like.
Okay.
Yeah.
And second, I know you received something else in the cage that night.
Yeah, I got my blue belt.
Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about that? 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, for me, belt promotion is, I'm not chasing belts or anything, but, you know, with
Mm-hmm.
jiu-jitsu, you start to kind of feel like, I'm getting the top of the room at my belt level.
Yeah.
You start tapping guys, and then you're thinking, okay, when is it my time? When is it my time?
Yeah.
Then finally you get promoted, you're excited for a bit, then you show up the next day, nothing has changed, you're still getting smashed. The people who used to tap, they just start bringing it to you even harder, and and then a couple days later you're just like, I don't know if I really deserve this at all, what am I doing? I'm just going to keep training, and that's where we sit every couple of years, you kind of rinse and repeat, but getting that in the cage, I want to hear about, like, how does that feel compared to getting the strap? How does it feel comparing that to getting the blue belt? Because I know jiu-jitsu is like the belts, of course we're not chasing them, but they do signify a little bit more than some of the other traditional martial arts.
Yeah. So it's funny actually. There you can see in the video where I'm getting my belt. I don't know what I was saying. They handed me the belt and I'm like, I go like this, like yeah, okay, whatever. Which is weird because I have no idea what I was saying. Obviously I'm stoked to get this belt. But I made like this face like, okay, yeah, whatever, guys. Like, it's not a big deal. And then, I got my belt. Oh, I think, okay, now that I go back to that moment, now I know what it was. I actually got my blue belt before I got my belt.
Okay.
You see us, like, in the footage at the end of the video, you see my reaction because my coach was over there like, yo, Chelsey, and he's holding the blue belt, and I look over and I'm like, and like I just lost my sweet shit because, you know, I've trained jiu-jitsu for a while now. It took me a really long time because I've had all these delays, right? So I've worked so much harder and longer for this blue belt than I ever did for the title. And I got my blue belt and I was like, I don't even care about that, like keep the other. And yeah, I was very, very happy for that. And I think the reason why when they handed me the belts, like the actual title, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, I want my blue belt now. That must have been what I was saying. Like, okay, yeah, this is great, but let my coach put my other one on.
That's the one that matters. So, are you training with that belt at all? Are you training gi, or is it just no gi now that you're focusing on MMA?
I will always train in the gi. Yeah, I will always train in the gi. And I love no gi, and I prefer no gi. Because I wouldn't say I prefer it. I would just say the type of fighter that I am, it jives with me. And I feel like when I'm in the gi, it's like we're always grabbing on me, pulling on me, and it drives me crazy.
How do you feel, Zach?
I mean, I love gi jiu-jitsu, except for the gi. You know, you get it that way.
Yeah. But I will always train in the gi because I love the art of jiu-jitsu, and I just think it's so beautiful, and I love how hard it is. I remember the first conversation I ever had with Louis Williams, my jiu-jitsu coach. I said, I don't know why anyone would ever want to train jiu-jitsu. This is before I started training. I said, you got people pulling on you on your neck and like bending you, and they're just like choking you with like this fabric, and it just looks terrible. And now, like, that's still the case. That is absolutely what it's like. But I love it because I love, like, the not giving up part. Like, having someone have a choke in and they've got it locked in and just finding an escape. Like, that's just such a good feeling for me. And, there's definitely a metaphor there. That's one thing that I've always been good at in my life is just finding a way out. Let's find the solution. Like, okay, what was the example I gave earlier where, like,
It was a kick. It was the Muay Thai kicks. Kicking high.
Aiming really high. Oh, well, yeah, like, with my ex-husband, he hated the States. I was like, all right, let's move. Let's go to China.
Yeah, good change.
Okay, let's fix this. And yeah, oh, well, I don't have enough weight classes in boxing. Okay, well, let me pick up other martial arts and maybe then I can get a fight. Open up, let's create more opportunities, so like that, I feel like some of my best traits, like my resilience and my, just the drive to find a solution or whatever is something that goes a long way in jiu-jitsu. And I can be my best self in jiu-jitsu. And I just love that. Yeah,
absolutely. I was talking to a few people about having you on the show, and just someone earlier today talked about, it's like, oh wow, she's a real legend. Yeah, in combat sports here in Vietnam. So you mentioned Louis, but who are some of the other coaches, some of the other training partners that has really advanced your thinking in the way you approach training in combat sports?
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out to Louis Williams because he, jiu-jitsu is a very hard sport to coach. You have to be very, very patient because it's just such a complicated thing. And I'm a kinesthetic learner. So you have visual learners who can look at something and do it. You have auditory learners, and then you have kinesthetic where we learn by doing. And so Louis had to really adjust his coaching style so that I could get it. And he's the only coach that I've ever had that did that for me. That said, here, let me do it with you so you can feel what it's like, and then you can try it on me. And he really adjusted. He never did that until me. I never saw him do that. And then once we started training together, I noticed that he changed that. And he's never made me feel stupid for not getting something. He's because it's hard. You have to be patient. He's never changed his tone. Yeah. He's never sounded condescending or anything like that. Those little things that slip because we're impatient. We want it. He's never done that. I can truly say. And we're human. We do that. As a teacher, I do that sometimes. And I'm ashamed. But working with Louis made me be more empathetic of different learning styles and different people. And so I really love him for that and appreciate him. Yeah. And let's see. So Pep and B, I was struggling a lot in the beginning with boxing because I wanted more attention from my coaches. I felt like I wasn't really being embraced by the coaches that I was working with. And so I went over to Muay Thai and they just completely embraced me. They were so excited to work with me. They're like, oh my gosh, you got good technique, you got heart, and you can't coach heart. And they just, they really encouraged me and it gave me some fuel. And then Roy Bokakusa, he's a boxing coach over at Cocky Buffalo, and he saw me at my worst right before I started my fight camp for this most recent title fight. He saw me at my worst because I had, my last fight got canceled. I had some falling out with, some coaches and stuff, and it really hurt me. And I was really struggling, mentally, emotionally, physically. So he saw me at my worst, and he never judged me for being that low. Sometimes when you're in a gym, people will be like, your buzz is gone. Or, you okay? Gained a lot of weight? Or, what happened to you? Kind of thing. And he never did that. He was just like, I believe in you. I know you got this. You're going to come back strong. And you hit like a man. And I know what he means, I know what he means. And he's like, you got that man strength. You got this. And he calls me Chelsea boy. I love it though. I know what he means. I don't take offense to it. Yeah. But yeah, no, I love it. And yeah, he's a great coach and just a good spirit. And also, my partner that I was with, he was a great mentor. We're no longer together, but he was a great mentor for me through all of that. And he, the first time that I had a Muay Thai fight, he said, my first Muay Thai fight, he said, what's the worst possible thing that could happen to you in this fight? And I said, getting elbowed in the nose. And guess what happened? I got elbowed in the nose. But I was already mentally prepared for it because we had this conversation in the cab ride over. Yeah. And so when it happened, I was able to keep fighting. I fought another round and a half after that. And I pulled out the draw, and I didn't give up. I made it through because he was able to put me there mentally. I already had gone through it in my head, so I was ready and I was able to get through it. And it was just little things like that he would do to mentor me. And yeah, Charles Del Castillo, you know, I gotta give credit where credit is due. He's a great coach, great personal trainer, but also a great mentor. So, yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, 2024 is here.
Yes.
Ted is here. The Lunar New Year is coming, and what does the year have for you in store?
I imagine I'll defend my belt.
Okay.
I'm hoping that there will be girls who sign up for my weight class. So we'll see who registers. And
so at this point forward, you're looking to MMA. That's going to be your focus, or
well,
are you
I
going to some of the other martial arts?
Yeah, I want to do more jiu-jitsu. That's really what I want to focus on, because that's just jiu-jitsu and wrestling. I love wrestling. Wrestling is what helped my jiu-jitsu click. Once I started training in wrestling, that was my takedown game got like really strong, and I realized like what kind of, you know, person I want to be. Like basically like, how do you start a match? What do you do? I'm definitely like a takedown person, and wrestling helped me kind of figure that out. So I really want to like put a lot of time and effort into jiu-jitsu and just stack up competitions as much as I can. But MMA, I love the thrill. I love the excitement. I love the danger. I love all of that. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing MMA. Might do some I don't know. I might do some boxing matches. I really love boxing too. But yeah,
you definitely made a big splash on the scene here in Vietnam in a lot of combat sports, and you certainly have the potential to make a big impact, big influence, and inspire a lot of people here in Vietnam. What are some of the ways that you think that you've already made a contribution to combat sports, and whether it's back in Georgia or here in Vietnam so far, and what are some of the things you'd like to do?
So I don't really think I've made a big impact yet, but I think I've made a lot of small ones. I think that the way that I train, I think that people see me working, and a lot of times they know that I come straight from work. I still got the makeup on from the day. Like, they know my, you know, what I'm doing, and I think people see how hard I train and like how much heart I have, and it makes them want to work harder. And I think that's huge for me. It might be little, it might be like a little ding, you know, and you know, the many ways that you can make an impact in the world might be small in that moment, but for me that's big. Absolutely. And like just being able to make a difference in someone's day, like someone saw me working hard and it gave them a little extra fuel, made them want to go a little bit harder. Like, I think that's huge. And also like my students, I think that it's great that they get to see that you really can do anything you want to do if you really want it. A lot of people want a lot of things, but they don't want the process. Yeah. And so that means that they don't really want it, because if you want something, that means that you're saying, okay, I'm willing to do what it is I have to do to get there. And if you're not willing, you don't want it. And I think the fact that my students can know, and I tell them, guys, I'm cutting weight this week. All right? Act right. I teach high school, so I joke with them. No. It's fine. They understand. They're a little scared of me, but no, they're very supportive. They're very sweet. But I think the fact that they know what I go through, and I share with them, and I tell them, you know, like, this is what I'm going for. This is what I have to do, and you know, tune in for my fight, guys. And so they know what I'm doing, and I think that they respect it, and they learn something from it. And I think I'm able to teach them in a very different way than any of their other teachers can. And I'm getting to kind of show them, yeah, you can work a full-time job and exercise too. You can work a full-time job and fight and train for a title shot if you want to. Yes. If you're willing to put in the work.
What you can do is lack discipline in Chelsey's class. There's no misbehaving in that classroom. I guarantee that.
No, there can be. It's so funny. Like, it's the end of the year, so I asked my students, I was like, okay, guys, what did I do right? What did I do wrong this year? Like, tell me how I can make it better, and tell me what you liked, you know, what made an impact. 'Cause why not? And one girl said, When you get angry, you really are scary sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. But I don't get angry with them. This is in child speak. You have to keep in mind that they're teenagers and that they're, you know, the way that they express. Like, I don't get angry with them. I'm just like, oh, you mean that you didn't do the assignment that I assigned? Why? And you know, I don't get angry with them, but they know that I'm not happy with them. So, So you have to keep a morsel of fear. Like, if you ask any of my students, what do you think about Miss Cash? They'll say she's really strict, but she's really cool. And she cares. She really cares.
That's really cool.
So I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So,
right.
yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we get wrapped up here?
Yeah. So, I mean, we talked a little bit about like, you know, girls not being like exposed to MMA or to martial arts as much. It does mean a lot to me that I get to be out here doing this, and I really like, at the end of the day, like, I do it for them. Like, I do it for them. I do it for those, not just the girls, but even, you know, anyone who can look at someone doing what I'm doing and can appreciate like what it takes to do that. Like, that's why I do it. I do it to show people like, I'm just a regular person. I'm literally like the most regular person you can meet. I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
You know, I can't keep a plant alive. I watch Netflix and I like music, and I'm just a regular person, but I put my heart into things, and it takes me a long way. And if you can, so I just want to say, like, if you're willing to put your heart into something, and you're willing to take advantage of the few things, the elements of your life that you can control, and you're willing to put in that work, and you're passionate and you love it, you can do it. You really can. And so, yeah, anyone out there who just wants to do something simple, like maybe just get fit, or maybe just learn a new skill, like, a lot of times it's hard to get in the habit of doing these things after a long day of work. It's hard to, you know, wake up early before you have to be up. It is hard doing these things. And for a while, it might feel like you just can't do it. But if you can just like tell yourself like, yes, I can, just a couple times, eventually it will just be a habit. And this kind of thing will just be normal for you. So just put your heart into things, and it'll take you a long way.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
If there was a book written about you, Chelsey, what would be the title?
That's a great question. I love how you didn't tell me this was going to be a question that you asked me.
I didn't know it was just an answer.
There's 1,000 good answers. Just pick one.
Yeah. Well, what would the book be about? It would just be about me?
What would be the title?
Like a biography?
What's the title? What's the title?
I would say the never giving up part.
That's the title of the book.
Yeah. The never giving up part.
Okay.
What's your favorite part of martial arts?
The never giving up
The
part.
never giving up
colon, and then what?
Chelsey Machete.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
there you have it, folks.
Oh.
Looking for this book to come out in 2024, 2025. When can we read it?
That's fantastic.
Oh,
It will
man.
be
I
out.
am a writer. I can maybe I can whip something up. I was a creative writing major.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can't wait. We can't wait.
Yes. Okay. You've given me an idea.
All right, folks.
All right.
All right, folks.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you having
Thank
me.
you so much for coming
And
on.
I just want to say, like, it's really cool that the first person that you guys chose is a woman. You know, there's a lot of really amazing athletes in the city that have way more accolades than I do. They're not all men, but most of them are men.
Yeah.
And you work closely with these guys, and you share a gym with a lot of these guys, and you could have picked any one of them, but you picked me. And I think that says a lot about you guys, that
Awesome.
you know that you're trying to send a good message and
For
get more
sure.
exposure to us girls. Yeah, I appreciate
Well,
it.
we're just trying to, bring positivity to the sport, to the scene, be a little bit of a voice in combat sports in Vietnam. So It's great to have the 2023 60 kilogram champion for Lion Championship, MMA competitor, Miss Chelsey.
Thank you. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chelsey.
Thank you.
Way better than you thought.
Really? Okay. Okay.